Can you feel it, Crunk?
Oh, I could feel it.
I could feel it.
Perfect.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, we good?
We are so good. We're going to crush this one.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, I'll start.
Okay, good. Hi, we're excited to be able to talk to you today. For our capstone, we worked on optimizing time series forecasting models. And before we hop into that, I'm going to give a quick introduction. I'm Emily Evett. I have here with me Dustin Nielsen, Lily Barton, and Kirsten Smurthwaite. So for our project, we partnered with a company called SpringHealth. They offer customizable enterprise mental health service plans to different companies, and they brought us in to help solve a problem of forecasting how many appointments they would have on any given time.
So some of our project impacts for this forecasting, first and foremost, would be financial budgeting and revenue maximization, as well as scheduling improvements between patients and professionals. For SpringHealth, the forecasting is extremely important as they use that as a key part of their contract negotiations. And if they were able to improve their forecasts, they would also improve their brand reputation. So for our agenda today, we'll start by talking about the approach we took, some of the modeling outcomes that we found, and some of our project findings, including limitations. And if we were to continue this project, what our next steps would be. Also note that we are under NDA, so we will share with you as much as we are able to. Unfortunately, we can't share everything.
So to start off, we want to talk about the current process that we then optimized, where it mainly does a company by company fit of the data that it uses ARIMA, ETS, and profit time series models. So when we went to approach about how we could best optimize this, we first looked at any additional data engineering transformations that we could do to improve model inputs that would then later down the line improve the model outputs and improve accuracy. After that, we looked at how we could best improve the current existing models, ARIMA, ETS, and profit, so that they could be forecasting the best that they could be, before then going and researching additional time series models that have high performance so that we could also incorporate any benefits there. So let's look at where that improvement took us. At the end of this 6-month research and training process, we first did a number of different data engineering steps, as well as statistical testing, differencing, and log transformations to, again, improve those model inputs. Before then, we experimented with some multivariate time series modeling using VAR and VCOM. Before then, going again to that company by company prediction using optimized ARIMA, ETS, and profit, as well as adding some additional models, TBATS, THIEF, as well as a hybrid XGBoost ARIMA model. We saw a number of successes from this, and we're really excited to share it with you.
So one of our biggest improvements that we were able to make is that we had a 30% reduction in cumulative absolute error. And this is phenomenal. We were not expecting to improve the models this much and improve accuracy, but we did, and we are very pleased with those efforts. To visualize how much we were able to improve accuracy, the histogram on the left represents the absolute error that the original models had. There was quite a spread from 0 to 40. We were able to reduce the spread down to 0 to 5, with most of our error falling between 0.5 and 1.25, which is pretty phenomenal. For a visualization of what these calculations are doing, here we have an example of one of the companies that we were modeling for. The blue line represents the actual amount of services that a company requested, and the red line represents the amount of services that our models predicted would be used. The more red that you see, the better the models performed. And the more blue you see, the more error they have. When we look at all of the different models and analyzed them by different companies. We found that XG Boosted Profit, XG Boosted ARIMA, and Restricted BAR had the biggest improvements onto client predictions. But if we look at everything as a whole and see how all of our models performed across all of the companies, SpringHealth helps, we see that XG Boosted ARIMA, XG Boosted Profit, and the Beacon models are the most widely applicable models to all of the companies that SpringHealth is servicing.
So how do these improvements actually help the business? So first, it helps them to be able to plan more in the long term, to make more informed decisions about how many therapists they need to have on hand to satisfy their customers' needs. By satisfying their customers' needs, they gain their trust and they'll keep coming back to use SpringHealth services, which will help bring in more revenue and help them to be able to continue to grow.
After talking about some of the improvements we were able to make and those implications, we also want to acknowledge some of the limitations with this process and these models. So first off, we need to acknowledge that we are fitting these models based on limited historical and contextual data. To drive this home, we literally started with 5 columns when we first started modeling these different data sets. On top of that, we also have almost no visibility on individual company timeline events, such as any mean shifts due to changes in policy or anything like that for the company, and that can lead to inappropriate modeling strategies at times. We also want to acknowledge that we are trying to forecast rather large horizons on very limited historical data at times, and that can lead to a large amount of extrapolation and uncertainty with these predictions that we're making. And then finally, we also want to acknowledge that these are somewhat advanced time series models that we are working with, and that means they often have very limited model interpretability on the business side.
So far, everything we've talked about has been about SpringHealth and the models that we've created. But this is also our capstone project. So as students, what are some of the lessons that we've learned? First, we were reminded of the importance of not overfitting our models. One of our early models, we did overfit, and it matched perfectly with training data and was useless with forecasting. We did fix this moving forward, which was good. Second lesson is the importance of case-specific success. From company to company, we found that varying models work better. As you can see here, this is for similar company data with 7 different models and how well they fit to that data, and it varies significantly. The third lesson that we learned was the importance of using good external data. One that we found surprisingly that worked well was from Wikipedia. It was the percentage of businesses that offered paid time off for holidays. We found significant improvement to our models with that data. And the last lesson that we learned was the difficulties that come with researching and implementing that research. We researched a lot about the models and some of the data engineering. Unfortunately, we weren't able to keep all the stuff that we learned. For example, with our data engineering, here are all the significant things that we tried, but unfortunately, only about 50% of it and we deemed to be useful. So these are the 4 lessons that we learned during this project.
And if we were to be able to move forward with SpringHealth and keep working on this project, we'd begin by first incorporating additional data, particularly size of company and the type of industry that company falls into. We'd also want to make it so that when new companies come in, since they don't have any historical data to go off of, we can use the data we have overall to be able to predict for them as well. And then finally, we'd like to investigate more hybrid and ensemble models because we found great success, for example, with ARIMA, with XGBoost, so we'd like to investigate that further.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen about our capstone and the results we were able to find. And we also want to have a big thank you for our amazing mentors, Trenton Pulsifer and David Wilson. Thank you for sharing your experience with us and providing this experience for us. We've learned so much and can't wait to go and apply it in the future. Thank you.